What's going on, you guys? Welcome back to the channel, and as you already read by the title, we'll be discussing the next upcoming update for Dayz. It is currently in beta state on Xbox. You know, the way Sony is, if it's not a finished, ready to go product, they don't want it. However, since it is currently in beta state on Xbox, it does mean that you can literally just go and give it a shot after watching this video. It is a server ready to go for testing purposes, of course. But without further ado, let's just dive right into this video. So the update 1.14, right off the bat you have static and dynamic toxic zones, meaning there will be a few places on the map that will constantly have radiation regardless when you approach those locations, but that's only for a few of them. However, on top of that, you will have random spawns of toxicity, meaning one day it might be radiated, but then the next day it will be gone, or it might not even be there to begin with. And I really like that a lot, actually, because it makes Dayz a lot more unpredictable, and it will test your survival skills on a level that's never been tested before, at least in Dayz. And obviously there are consequences for those who are not prepared, which leads to my next point, the new disease. So if you're missing any of these followings right here, not only you will receive cuts while being inside the toxic zone, but you will also get radiation disease, which will kill you over time if you are not treating that properly and in time. How do you cure radiation? Well, there is a new antidote, which is POX. I guess that's the lamest terms for it, but it is also one of the new items in the game. Now, unless they change the timing of healing for this specific disease, it should technically heal you almost instantly after you inject it. But we won't know this for sure until the update goes gold on PlayStation, of course, and just across all the platforms. They're still testing things out, so any of this that we're about to talk about will be changed if necessary. However, it's not always the case. So the next big thing would be LMAS, or FAMAS, I guess some people would call it, but it's an assault rifle. Now, this is something I'm personally very excited about because not only it looks super cool, but just looking at demonstrations online, I think this will be by far the most powerful and useful rifle. Not only does it sound like don't mess with me type of deal, but it also looks pretty fucking cool, and it seems to really knock zombies off their feet real quick. The only downside, of course, is the fact that you cannot customize it much. It's got a burst mode, which comes handy while fighting hordes of zombies, but you don't have to have burst mode out. I'm sure you can switch in between. Then you also have a new night vision scope, PVS4, that's the name of it, which comes very useful during night operations, and there's not much else to it. As I already mentioned slightly at the beginning, you must have a suit to go into the radiation zone, which is called MBC suit, which can be found in new spawn locations, which have been edited for this upcoming update. Those places were edited to Field Hospital at the Northeast Airfield in Chernarus and at the Lukov Airfield in Linovia. Once again, not much else to it. We also have new craftable tripwire, which can be placed around buildings or pretty much anywhere else. This comes very handy with PvP. You could also attach smoke grenades or regular grenades to it. That way, when the tripwire is triggered, it will blow things up. Speaking of craftable traps, we also have new fishnet traps, which is handy if you're in the middle of nowhere. They do come in varieties. You have regular size, but then if you are limited on supplies, you can always just craft one, a smaller version of it, which only requires like a blade and a plastic water bottle. And then last but not least, you have snare trap, and you already know what that does. Now, have you guys ever been in a situation where you find a chicken or a smaller prey and you have no blade whatsoever, so you always have to leave the chicken behind and just look for like any type of rock or a knife at this point, and then you're gonna have to come back to that specific spot and spend like extra 20 minutes looking for that chicken? Well, thanks to this update, it is no longer the case. Now you can pick up different carcasses, and that includes chicken, rooster, hare, sardines, and bitterlings. Now we also have a legit stealth kill animation. instead of you crouching behind a zombie and second guessing whether you killed it or not, or whether you're doing things properly, there will be a little animation when you crouch behind a zombie or sneak behind, and as long as you have a knife. So previously, you know, as long as you have a melee weapon, or I guess in this case you couldn't use knives to stealth kill, but you could use pickaxe or axe or even a shovel. I think I've never tried it, but I'm pretty sure you can use a shovel for this as well. Well, with this update they switched things up, so now you only can have a blade, or it's one-handed weapon, and you can stealth kill, and I'm pretty sure it only works with knives. I'm not sure, but I know for sure, for a fact, you can no longer stealth kill with a pickaxe. Now I will show you a list of things they fixed with this update. I will not go over them because you can just read it for yourself. Just pause the video. I hate wasting people's time. I just want to get to the spicy stuff and get it out the way and just let you guys be. So here it is. Feel free to pause the video now. Now let's go over what I call interactive changes. Number 1, wearing a mask slows down your stamina regeneration. Makes sense, right? You know, it's hard to breathe. It's limited oxygen supply, so obviously your stamina will go up slowly. 2, wearing a mask, you can no longer take pills, drink, or eat. Very realistic. It used to be that, you know, you get infected, you get bitten, or you need food, you can just have your mask on and just eat. Well, I don't know how this will play out in radiation zones, but it should be pretty tricky, because let's say one of your jackets just rips. Well, you're gonna have to take off your mask in radiation, or would you have to leave the radiation, then take the pills, and then put it back on and go back in the zone? I'm not sure how that whole thing will work out, but it sounds pretty hardcore realistic. 3, masks can be repaired with proxy pudding, which are used for car parts. Makes sense. Number 4, MBC respirators require filters to function. So you can use one filter at a time and just exchange them as they run out, which is kind of nice. You don't have to throw away your masks. And then it says combat mask has a limited non-exchangeable filter. However, the visual quality is improved. Meaning if you have a combat mask, obviously you can see a lot clearer per se. You have a regular MBC masks. However, the downside, it will last you longer. I think the times are like 10 minutes and 8. So the combat mask has a little bit more time to it, but once it's out, you have to throw away the whole mask. 6, they improved the visual quality of the bear. 7, removed spawn points that were too close to the radiation. Makes sense. 8, improved targeting of melee weapons to be more forgiving. 9, Russian helicopter sites have more visuals now, and they also make a sound upon spawn point or in nearby surrounding areas. So it used to be that you literally just have to look for a helicopter, and now it will make a sound, or like a crashing sound, I suppose, and you're gonna know exactly where it's at. So 10, smoke has been tweaked so helicopter sites are more visible now. 11, adjusted collision geometry of the machete. 12, plants are now moving towards the wind, which is really nice. Yeah, so for 13, charcoal pills now cause fever. 14, food poisoning now causes fatigue. 15, salmonella now causes light pain. 16, nighttime acceleration period adjusted to only influence actual nighttime. Reduce the size of MBC clothing when stored in your inventory. It makes sense. So if you have to go to radiation zones, MBC suit will no longer weigh as much as it does now. That way you can just comfortably put it in your inventory and have it as a backup. So for 19, it is no longer possible to build a stone oven if it would be clipping with a large item. 22, the overheating effect of firearms appears later. Boiled food will no longer burn from boiling. Baked and dried food can be boiled without burning. Okay, damage of weapons is slightly lowered when they enter the ruined state. Again, very realistic approach. Okay, this one's kind of confusing. It says the water fountains will no longer be useful and they will only be as a visual. So does that mean you have to find like purification tablets to drink lake water, or do you have to find like a healthy, clean water stream? I'm not sure about that, so we're gonna have to wait. And last but not least, they updated the credits. So once again, it is golden on Xbox, so if you want to just give it a shot and play it. I heard people say online, other streamers, other creators, they say that it feels a lot like a modded Dayz now, which is kind of cool, but it's not on PlayStation simply because they just want a final ready to go product. Obviously, if it's got glitches, Sony does not like that. They want original 100% working product. So whereas Xbox is like, you know, just bring it on, we're gonna test it. So they're just two different animals at this point, and that's pretty much the only reason you don't see it on Sony. But with that being said, this will conclude today's video. I tried to make this short and easy for you all. If this was helpful in any shape or form, smash that like button. If you like to see something like this in the future, cover more updates or whatnot, just subscribe for future videos like this. And as always, I will catch you later, I guess. Bye.